Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. You know, with Thanksgiving almost here and the Christmas holidays following afterwards, now would be a good time to mention a certain movie that you folks are sure to know about. It's a Wonderful Life. Released in 1947, the film focuses on George Bailey, who has so many problems that he thinks about ending it all. As George is about to jump from a bridge, he ends up rescuing his guardian angel, Clarence, who then shows George what his town would have looked like if it hadn't been for all his good deeds over the years. Now, in my opinion, this movie is really and truly a tearjerker, and it does give a nice lesson about all the great things in a person's life that is right there in front of them. Plus, I did mention a few months ago that the director, Frank Capra, got to work with Dr. Seuss at Hollywood's Fort Fox during World War II. Plus, over the years, certain TV shows and movies did their own take on this story. For example, there was Tiny Toon Adventures, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Fairly Odd Parents, heck, even Shrek did it for his fourth movie. However, did you know that there was an episode where Princess Sofia's family became simple commoners? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So, released to television on November 8th, 2013, this is The Baker King. So, on for the plot of the episode. In this, after a whole day of tiresome errands and preparations for the villagers' ball, King Roland finds an enchanted mirror in the castle attic. Then, unaware of the mirror's magical properties, makes a wish for a simple life as the village baker. When his wish is granted, his daughter Sofia attempts to show him how important it is for him to be king again. So, my thoughts on this episode? Well, it's good, but it's not really one of my favorites though. But now, let's move on to Mustang notes. The moral of this episode is there is no such thing as a problem-free life, which is another lesson that I can identify and relate to. You see, during my life being an actor at Musical Theater Village, it can be pretty tiring, but seeing the happy smiles and hearing the audience's applauses makes it all worthwhile. Same goes when it comes to doing videos on my YouTube channel. As for the story, well, like I said earlier, it's basically a Sofia the First version of It's a Wonderful Life, where Sofia and her family are living a simple commoner's life, which, in my opinion, began pretty freaky. Also, during the episode, while going around the village of Dunwoody, Roland starts to understand how much the people of Enchantia need him as king. As for the animation, well, the CGI animation by Toeion is still great. Not only does the Dunwoody village look nice, but I also like the stuff that Roland made possible before he and his family became commoners, like a dragon slide at the playground, the new schoolhouse, and new crops for the gardens. Plus, I found it nice that the royal family hosts the villagers' ball at the end of the episode. The song featured in this episode is called The Simple Life, sung by Roland and his family. During the song, Roland expresses his delight to live as a baker rather than being king. In my opinion, this song is pretty decent, despite the fact that Roland does not know anything about baking. But I do like when Sofia and Miranda try their best to support him due to their past experiences as commoners. Also, at the same time, James finds fun out of being a simple boy, while Amber feels pretty upset and pouty. And now, let's move on to the characters and the voice actors who brought him to life. King Roland is voiced by Travis Willingham, best known for voicing Foreteller Aced in Kingdom Hearts Key, Kuko in Elena of Avalor, and Thor and Scourge in several animated Marvel TV shows. This episode is pretty much the first time where Roland has a big role, and in my opinion, King Roland is a relatable main character, while going through so many errands to help his kingdom. However, after he unawarely makes a wish on a mirror that his wife Miranda found in the attic, he and his family become a baker family living a simple commoner's life. Plus, Roland was feeling pretty delighted with his new life, even though he can't cook and he has no idea what he's doing. But after seeing how much the villagers look up to him, he finally realizes that he has been pretty selfish, and he decides to become king again. Next is his daughter, Princess Sofia, voiced by Ariel Winter, whom has been a young Kyrie in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Marina in Jake and the Neverland Pirates, young Trixie in Speed Racer, Penny Peterson in DreamWorks Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and Smurf Lily in Smurfs The Lost Village. Now, this episode is the first time since Once Upon a Princess where viewers have seen Sofia wearing her village dress. Plus, her amulet is missing for a majority of the episode, and nobody seems to notice. Anyway, in my eyes, Sofia is a very helpful princess, like when she helped her dad with his errands, and when she and her mom Miranda teach Roland how to bake. Plus, I like the part where Sofia shows Roland how much the people of Enchantia need him while making the bread deliveries around the village. And I like when she tells him that being king may be a hard job, and it's not as simple or as fun as he'd like it, but someone has to do it, and that someone is him. Next is Princess Amber, voiced by Darcy Rose Byrnes, whom has been in Desperate Housewives and Spirit Riding Free. In my opinion, Amber's behavior as a commoner is pretty much the same as her behavior as a princess, sometimes a bit spoiled and bratty. However, I think it was pretty funny when she gets chased by a chicken, which kind of makes me think back to this scene.
A monster!
A chicken.
A chicken!
Also, it's pretty much Amber's fault that she and her family had to bake a 100-layer tall strawberry cake with chocolate chips and vanilla frosting. Other members of the cast includes Sarah Ramirez as Queen Miranda, Roland's wife, Zach Callison as Sophia's brother, Prince James, as well as other actors like Tim Gunn, Jennifer Hale, G.K. Bose, Nika Futterman, Maxim Knight, Court Young, Michaela Z. Even series creator and producer Craig Gerber gets a voice in this episode for his first time on the show. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, The Baker King is not one of my favorite episodes in Sophia's first season. While the plot was kind of cliched, it was pretty interesting seeing the royal family trying out life in the village. The CGI animation is still great. King Roland was a decent and relatable main character, despite the fact that he was pretty stubborn at times and his baking was terrible. Sofia and Miranda were very supportive while helping him in the simple life and helping him realize how much the people look up to him. Plus, I think this episode does give a pretty decent lesson regarding a life with stress and being grateful for all that you've done. As for my rating, I'll give this episode a 73% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me for the final episode of Princess Sophia's first season, Mustang Power.